But all of you, by the way, once you convert, all of you, your father's name would be Abraham.
So we would be Yaniv ben Abraham.
Yes. So when you go up to the Torah in the synagogue, you go up to the synagogue and they ask you what's your name, and you can tell them Yaniv, and then you can tell them who's your father. They say Avram. So Yaniv ben Avram. A woman, on the other hand, says her name, daughter of Sarah. Sarah is Abraham's wife. So a woman is daughter of Sarah. A man is son of Avram. Go ahead, next question. You. Yeah.
A long time ago, how did people communicate? Like, if I lived in Bronxville and my friend lived in McAllen, how would we communicate?
In the old days or today?
In the old days.
In the old days, they would usually send letters. They would send letters to each other in the mail. They would have, the mail wasn't like today where there was trucks and cars that would bring them from place to place. Usually, you would give letters to a person on a horse, and he would travel from city to city.
No WhatsApp, no texting, no email.
No text, email, no Facebook, no Twitter.
Rabbi, one question. For in our marriage, what are the laws of birth control?
The man is never allowed to waste seed. So this is a very, very strict, very, very important mitzvah to know. Both the wife and the husband need to know this. The man is never allowed to waste seed, ever. There's never an excuse to waste seed. Meaning that any time the man ejaculates, it has to be inside a woman. Now, what if you don't want to get pregnant? He's not allowed to use a condom because a condom, in essence, destroys the seed. It's wasting seed. And it's not allowed to be outside of the woman. We know this, that even applies to goyim. It even applies to non-Jews. We know this from, there's a couple of sources. One is the source of the two sons of Judah, and Onan. And Onan were born before we got the Torah. And because they wasted seed, Hashem killed both of them. And Tamar, the wife of both of them, ended up marrying their father Judah, and that's where the source of the beginning of the story of the Mashiach begins. A source even before that, even before and Onan, is from Noah himself. This is why I know for a fact that wasting seed applies both to Jews and non-Jews. Obviously, it's much worse for Jews than it is for non-Jews, but nonetheless, it is not allowed for anyone. The source in Noah is technically, it's part of the 7 Noahide laws in the Parashat Noah, Genesis chapter 9, verse 6. This is one of the verses that the English translation is not very good. I haven't seen it very good anywhere. But in essence what it says, in Hebrew, I'll read it in Hebrew and then in English, Shofech dam ha'adam ba'adam damo yishafech ki b'tzelem Elohim asa et ha'adam. It says, whoever sheds blood of a man, by a man, shall his blood be shed. For in the image of God he made man. So in essence, what it's supposed to say, what most people think this is applying to is purely to murder. You're not allowed to kill somebody. Somebody that spills blood is murder. But it actually also refers to wasting seed. Why? Because shofech dam means spills blood. Ha'adam is the blood of a man. Ba'adam means within a man. So it's not just blood, it's the blood of a man within a man. The blood of a man within a man is your seed, is a man's seed. So this is a commandment directly from God to Noah. And a lot of people don't know this. So wasting seed is a major, major sin. Now, not everyone wants to have 100 kids. Not everyone is able to even mentally to handle so many kids. We need to know that having children is a very, very big mitzvah. It's the first mitzvah that we got from God. Bu means to multiply. It's a mitzvah to have kids. We should have as many kids as possible. As far as parnasah, also you asked me before, what's good for parnasah? What's good for making money? Having children. Each child comes with his own blessing of money. So while we wait and think that maybe if we have money, we'll have kids, God is telling us opposite. The money comes with the kid. So somebody has 4 kids, let's say. He says, no, you know what, I don't have enough money to have the 5th kid. Little does he know that the 5th kid comes with $1 million. So having kids is a very, very big blessing in Judaism. Now, if you're not ready to do it for many reasons, whether someone just had kids and she just got out of the pregnancy, you don't want to have one kid after another like it's a factory, or you're just not ready, whatever it is, the only thing that you're allowed to do is use birth control. But it's under certain circumstances. It shouldn't necessarily be like it's like, everyone should use it and no problem. It's certain conditions need to be met in order for you to use birth control. But that's the only thing that's allowed as far as I guess restricting birth, because that's the only way where the seed is technically not being destroyed. There's always a chance that it won't work.
Suppositories for women or the pills?
There's also suppositories for the women. The suppositories, it's the suppository that a woman can put in that area of the body that, in essence, could also be a form of birth control.
It always has to be talked, in this case, with you, right? Before we make any...
Yeah, I mean, you're also going to have, yes, I mean, generally, again, it's it's great to have children, but it's also great to have each other in mind. The husband cannot treat, if the woman had, let's say, 4 or 5, 6, 7 kids, whatever it is, and she's at a point where it's too much for her. She can't handle it mentally. Not physically only. Physically, she could have 500 kids. So Hashem created her to have a body that she could have as many kids as possible. Mentally, she can't handle it. The man cannot force his wife to have a child. The major obligation of a man is to have, the major obligation of having children actually is on the man, not on the woman. The man is obligated to have a boy and a girl. The woman is not obligated to have kids. But since she's the one that completes him, it'll be nice if she helps him do that mitzvah. But the key is that to have a boy and a girl. If they have not had a boy and a girl yet, it's a very, very short period of time that they would be allowed to have birth control in their life. Unless there is some type of physical condition or something like that. In general, there has to be a reason for why someone is using birth control. And if it's because we only want to have 2 kids and a dog, that's not usually a good excuse. So, again, you're not forced to do anything you don't want to do, but we should talk about it and figure out why we don't want to do it, is what I'm trying to say.
And the allowed ones are just oral, right? Or you said the other ones suppository one?
Yes, there's a pill you could take orally, and there's also a suppository. Yes.
Who was the first person to go to heaven?
Who's the first person to?
To go to heaven.
Adam. Well, actually, technically, it wasn't Adam. It was Abel, because Abel was murdered. It was Cain and Abel were 2 of the sons of Adam, and Abel was murdered. But Abel, this is a long explanation, but Abel was murdered. He got killed by his brother. And he ended up being reincarnated, coming back to life. His soul came back to life, and he came back as Noah. And then Noah ended up coming back to life as Moses. So they're all connected. So yes, they saw part of heaven, But the heaven that Adam, the first human that was ever created, he saw both heavens. He saw the heaven in this world. What used to be a heaven in this world was actually a land, a heaven in this world. And then obviously after he died, he saw the heaven that's a spiritual world. Go ahead, next.
So, what's a regular time frame?
As far as finishing the conversion,
Yeah, like for example, I know it all depends on us, but what? Well, first of all, is there a fee? What's the fee for that?
oh yes. So yes, there's a fee for it to the bet din. I don't get any money. So all money is paid directly to the bet din. After you finish and complete the conversion, you don't pay them ahead of time. The bet din for the conversion is $2,000, and I think there's a couple of small fees of like $50 or $100 or something like that. I think it's total for person is about $2,000 or $2,100. If it's a family, I believe there may be a small discount. I don't remember exactly how much, but it's a small discount from the $2,000 price per person. And also the chuppah for anyone that's already with somebody that's going to get married. Excuse me, it's another $500 for the actual chuppah.
Is there like a payment plan?
Believe it or not, this place in New York that I'm telling you about that gave me these fees
Get on layaway?
is about 80% cheaper.
Really?
Is 80% cheaper than any other place that I know of. Usually conversion costs between, the cheapest I've heard other than this place is about $5,000-6,000, but most places are above $10,000.
Is there something like Walmart layaway?
Be'ezrat Hashem, but they'll see as a group. You guys are as a group. Hopefully we'll try to get as many of you to convert at the same time, and we'll try to work out something where it's slightly cheaper. I don't think it's going to be that much cheaper. Also, one good thing actually that I did find out for anyone that's not circumcised, because that's usually a very, very big financial barrier. Because a circumcision when you're an adult costs a huge amount of money. It's $10,000-15,000. It's a surgery. It's a real surgery. You're asleep. It's a big surgery. In some cases, even more than $10,000-15,000. Could be even $25,000. So this place in New York, they actually have a doctor, a very righteous doctor, that's willing to do it for free. Only thing that we have to pay, you would have to pay is the $300 to the judge to come and oversee it, to make sure that it's all kosher. There's 3 judges would have to come and oversee it to make sure that the circumcision is kosher. So obviously their time is worth something. But the $15,000-20,000 you have nothing to worry about.
So it's $900, right? Because
What?
it's 3 judges at $300 each?
No, total $300.
Oh.
Total $300.
Is that by appointment or?
Yes, we would have to make an appointment. Whoever was going to have the circumcision would go there, would make the appointment. They would go there. They would go back after they finished. They would go back home, heal, which would take about 3 or 4 weeks. And then after they heal, they would come back to New York to finish the conversion, meaning that they would answer the questions and go to the mikveh and finish the conversion, and hopefully, in your case, would get married also. So you got a lot going on in 1 month.
Is that $2,100 including, like you said, since we're being converted, our marriage annuls, and then we have to get married again, so those $2,100 are already within that, or that's already...
No, the $2,100 would not include the marriage. The marriage is another $500. And remember, again, I'm not making even 1 penny out of all of this. None of it goes to me. So it's this is 100%. You give it directly to the bet din, not after you finish everything. And again, from my experience, from other bet dins, it's drastically cheaper. if you could find someplace cheaper, by all means. But also the biggest thing is that I know these people in a sense that I know that they're strictly to the point. They see your belief, they ask you some questions, and they convert you. Sometimes there are some certain beddins or certain rabbis that string you along for a while, where a conversion process takes 2, 3, 4 years.
They charge you little by little.
And they charge you, maybe they tell you, no, it's only going to be less money, but it's every few months or every year, and it ends up being much more expensive over a long period of time. There's one woman that I helped at the last stage, but she was going through a conversion for like 5 or 6 years before I met her. By the time I got involved into the story, it was 2 months later. We finished. 2 months, we got finished with the conversion. But she was dealing with somebody for 6 years. So, again, there's certain people that are not 100% to the point, is what my point is. I know, my goal is to not only help people convert, but to make it as efficient as possible, because in my opinion, we're at it's everyone's opinion, we're at the end of times, but in my opinion, we have to get converted as soon as possible, because Mashiach is around the corner, and if we really are serious about converting, we don't want to waste any time.
Is there something, and all jokes aside, is there something serious, like, I guess, regarding payment, even though there's a discount, or does that happen?
It's possible, I could ask. Since you're a group of people, and there's a lot of you, it's not Baruch Hashem, it's a great group of people, I'm sure that something could be negotiated. There's how many of you? How many will be converting about?
You guide us through the whole process, right?
I can't hear you, breaking up.
I'm sorry, you'll guide us through the whole process, right?
Of course, yeah, that's what we're doing now. Yeah, of course. I'll send you the list of items that I'm looking at as far as things that are needed. I'll constantly talk to the Bedin. I'll, any questions you guys have. Of course, yeah, this I told you from day one. We're going to go through this, from, every step of the way to get you guys finished. Jews, 100%, no questions. Make sure that the community is the right community. Make sure the rabbis are the right rabbis. And but again, I need everyone to be as serious as you've shown me you are over the last couple of months. I want that to continue. Studying every day, watching the lectures. As long as I see that you're serious, then I know that it's a good investment of my time. If I see people are just joking around, like, instead they're playing PlayStation all day, then it's not a good, I'd rather spend my time doing other things that, so you have motivated me. That's how serious you guys are. You're motivating. You love Hashem so much. You're asking questions in the middle of the night that are serious questions. You're taking big actions. You're not even thinking twice about moving, changing your lives. You want to do this other group. This is very, very motivating. It's motivating to me. It's motivating to anyone that would watch this. So for that, it's a privilege for me to be a part of it. But again, the road is just begun. We have to get the rest of it done. And as far as how long it's going to take, it's going to be depending on you. I'll send you the list after this conversation. And if you guys can actually get a good understanding of everything within the next month, then we'll get it done within the next month. If it's going to take you more than that, it'll take you more than that. It's going to depend on you. I'll be around regardless of whether I'm here in Israel, in Texas, in Florida, wherever I am. It doesn't matter. I'll always be available. And it's going to really mostly depend on you and how much time you put into this thing. But again, like he said before, it's very, very important already to start working on the Jewish community.
So I guess more than anything, the whole study process, of course, for everybody, and even then we convert, we're still going to be studying. But more than anything, start looking for a community.
Yes.
I think that once we find the community, it'll be much easier now, because then we get to see it like kind of hands-on, so to speak.
Yeah, it's again, there's different types of communities. There's some communities that are very, very active, and there's programs, for different lectures every day or several times a week. There's some communities that are more dormant, where there's only activities on the weekends. So it depends. There's different communities, different things. The most important thing is to have a community that's, orthodox and welcoming, and somewhere that you could see yourself fitting in. You're always going to have, as a big family, Baruch Hashem, you're always really going to be a community within a community. But overall, it shouldn't be a problem for you to find a community. And again, you should check it out, make some phone calls, get some references. There's a lot of information online. In today's age, you can find pretty much everything online. So anything you need, find out, get references, get good information. Take a shot.
You had mentioned that if we can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, you had mentioned gather a good amount of people that you would be able to come and share the Bronzeville with us.
Yes.
This would be our group.
Okay.
The people that we gather.
Yeah, it's a great group.
Well, this is our immediate family, but if we can probably invite other people, I guess, would it be offensive if we invited Goyim who are interested in learning about Judaism, or would it just be people?
No, absolutely not. I would come, no problem. Sure. And we can also do this. It's cheaper. You don't have to pay for my flight and stuff, but...
Well, the only thing would be kosher.
Huh?
The only thing would be kosher for you.
Yeah, I'll bring something with me, don't worry.
That's so...
No, I already found.
Don't worry, it was not the first time. I've been, I have family that's not Jewish. Remember I told you, my wife is a convert. My wife is a convert. My wife is the best convert I ever met. So that's also part of the reason why I know enough about this, and I relate to converts so much. Yeah.
Can I ask you a personal question?
By all means.
What? I know you shared your own story about what happened and things like that, but what was that transition from? I mean, Mamash, you were a multi-millionaire in Manhattan,
Right.
one of the biggest stockbrokers out there, to actually doing this. What was the transition like? Because that's more or less similar to what we're doing. Because we're actually transitioning from one lifestyle to a completely different one.
The transition, my transition was it had several stages. So the first stage was my whole world collapsing. I was 26 years old and top of the world. Printing money. I had more money than I can count. Everyone that was in my life had their hands out. And everyone received. And I never really cared for money. I just liked making it. So for me, giving somebody $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 just to get them to be happy for 5 minutes didn't really matter to me. I just do it. If somebody had a problem paying something, I'd help them. If somebody had any type of issue, I would help them. And most of the money I make, I gave people. Because again, for me, it was more of the action and competition of making it than it was about having it. Like I never really had toys. Like I could have afforded Ferraris and all types of stuff, but I just never spent my money on that stuff because I didn't believe in it. The fanciest thing I had was my apartment, but in general, I didn't really have much toys. I never bought a piece of jewelry for myself in my life. I had jewelry, but I was given that as a present because my family's in a jewelry business. But I never bought one piece of jewelry for myself. Honestly, it just wasn't my thing. I bought it for my wife, but not for myself. So, being that I was at the top of the world, I thought that it was all due to me. Even though I believed in God, I made my own, description of what that relationship is supposed to be, like a lot of people do. And that's why I relate to that thought process where some people treat God like he's a Santa Claus, like he's supposed to be the only to give us stuff, but when he wants something from us, to serve him, to obey him, to comply with His law and so on. No, that's not for me. So that is not really the people that believe in a God that only gives and doesn't ask us to serve Him. They don't really believe in the real God. So that was me. And so now once I got sick, I had a surgery. If you remember one of the lectures that I had in Los Angeles and before even, I got sick. I had a surgery that went wrong. And once I got sick and started pretty much fighting for my life, I realized for the first time that I'm vulnerable. I realized for the first time that it's all meaningless. Even the stuff that I thought was meaningful was meaningless. And for years I was trying to find a way to save whatever I had, because I didn't necessarily change from one day to another, that I thought one day it's great, the next day no. Like, it took me a while to realize that there has to be something else. Now, when I discovered the Torah, rediscovered the Torah again, it started giving me answers. So even though I was still going through a lot of difficulties, losing money and more money and more money, and my health was still deteriorating at some point, at least I started getting some answers. And those answers were worth everything to me. Eventually I became more and more observant, more and more religious. My wife converted. Once my wife converted, like the day she converted, like it was pretty much, we were already religious, we were already keeping Shabbat for a while, we were already keeping kosher for years and so on, but like the day she converted and we had our chuppah, it's like we went from 0 to 100 in like 5 seconds. Like we were already okay, but the day the conversion happened was like a spiritual explosion. It was, all of a sudden we just wanted to do everything. Like all the doubts we had before she converted, all the things that we were not sure whether they're going to do it, not do it, how modest, how not modest, how will we do this, will we do that. All of a sudden everything changed. And the Torah that I was learning all of a sudden became even sweeter. So I was already learning for a while before it, for years before it. But as soon as that chuppah happened, as soon as that wedding, as soon as that conversion happened, everything changed. It like took a different shape. So now, we were like on cloud 9. We were as happy as can be. We went to Israel. We, had a good time there. I went to see my rabbi. I went to, that helped me through this whole process. We came back here. And as soon as we came back here, we realized that continuing to stay in New York is just doesn't make any sense, because we lived on the 35th floor in a multi-million-dollar apartment, but that's it. There's nothing else. Like, okay, the apartment was cool, and you can see it online. It's a nice, fancy apartment, but it's meaningless. There's nothing else. Like, there's no community. I can't go to synagogue on Shabbat because I'm not going to go up and down 35 stories. And the Jews that are around are not religious. So on Shabbat, either we had to go to my parents' house for leave the house and go there for the weekend. Which is fun to do once a month maybe, but not every weekend. Sleeping at, your parents' house gets old after a while, or anybody's house gets old. You want to go to your own house. But then being at the house all day is also fun, but after a while you want to be part of something. So we realized that, just her and I, just the Jewish community by ourselves is not enough. We wanted more. So, since I was losing money, or I lost most of my money, didn't have that many options, and we just started looking for different Jewish communities, and we said, let's just rent a place. And we found a place in Florida, and we just realized that being part of a Jewish community is more significant to us than living in a, $3-4 million apartment that is probably worth more than, the bathroom is probably worth more than the house. But it's meaningless. And the more Torah we had, the more meaningless this life became, meaning the material part of this life became. So, had a little bit of money left. We moved. We left everything behind. It was almost like couple of months process. We found a place. We found the location. We came to visit for a weekend. We saw the community. We decided as soon as we got home to move. I think a month or two later we moved here, and that's it. It was like pretty much 1, 2, 3. We moved. Obviously this was hard for my family more than it was for us, but we needed a change and we wanted to change. But I still had a little bit of my business, but I was working out of the house initially, and I still had a thought of maybe learning Torah part of the day and working the other part. But even the Hashem had different plans for me, and I started doing more shiurim. I started doing more lectures. And when I was in New York, I was only doing short lectures on Shabbat at my parents' synagogue for 5, 10, 15 minutes, short lectures. I wasn't giving like a long shiurim. But once I came to Florida, within like a month, I started seeing that there's enough secular people that need help. So I'm like, all right, why not? Let's just start doing shiurim. And one of the main originally I was just going to do the lectures by themselves without recording it. But my father got sick, and he had pneumonia, and he was in the hospital. And I told him that I started doing lectures a week before. He goes, all right, why don't you do the next one? Why don't you record it for me?
Oh, wow.
So I said, okay, why not? So I recorded it. Now how do I thought I could send it to them on email or something, but it's too big. It's like 2-3 gigabytes, the video. So I said, how do I send the video to him? Let's just put it on YouTube.
So the whole concept was pretty bad.
Yeah, so the whole idea was just for my dad. I was planning on eventually recording my lectures, but I didn't think that I was good enough or knowledgeable enough to publicize it.
Right.
I knew a little Torah, but not. I know how to speak more than I knew Torah. So originally it was just for my father, but then I noticed that other people are watching it and they made comments and they liked it. So I said, all right, let's try another week, and each week there would be more. And my rabbi was a very big fan of me putting the lectures online, and I started seeing that people are subscribing and like it, so I just started doing more and more of it, and more people came to the shiurim. And so now, but again, at this point, I'm just doing one lecture, and I'm working. Still working out of the house, but eventually God had a different plan for me, and whatever money I had left completely disintegrated to nothing. Business went to nothing, exploded in one day.
So you don't do any investment, any capital for now, right?
Zero, nothing. I lost every single dollar.
But you don't do any of it anymore. Just consulting, you said, right?
Yeah, once in a blue moon, somebody asks me for help as far as consulting for their business, either to fix their company or to help their salesman or anything like that. But it's very rare. It's generally not much.
Do you just stay on the Jewish side of it, any fellow Jewish, or any?
Repeat that again?
Do you just keep on the Jewish side, like just help any Jews out there that needed any help, I guess, investment, information, or like you said?
No, anyone. Anyone, I don't care. Yeah, anyone. Doesn't matter.
You don't do it at all anymore as it is.
No, investments, I don't do it all anymore. I don't deal with investments at all. The only thing I do is help, once in a blue moon. Somebody would ask me to help them as their business. If they have a business, they have a company, different types of industries, whether it's in, different industries, whether it's diamonds or it's sales or it's a manufacturing, whatever it is, and they need, something that I'm familiar with, like to either help their salesman or help them in marketing. Maybe they'll call me and I'll try to help, but that's, literally less than 1% of 1% of my time. Generally, most of my time is either learning or kiruv, helping people with conversion or helping people become more religious. And learning. That's it.
Can I ask you something? Were you married when all this was going on while you were
Yeah, I've been married for almost 13 years.
So I might imagine then the difficulties that you were going through while you were sick, and I guess your wife, as she was not a convert yet, would you happen to give us any advice on? Because I guess by the talks with my sister and her husband as well as Horacio and my other sister, we go through similar situations when we try to read Torah, when we study. That's when it hits us harder. I've gone through it a couple of times, like I told you before. I'm going through it right now with this other company I started working with. Where you can build, you do, you accomplish, but all of a sudden everything just boom evaporates. It's one problem after another, and you go back to reading Torah, you pour your heart into it, and everything starts. So it's like kind of like everything makes us stop. Like Hashem stops everything because He wants you to concentrate in Torah. Because you're pouring your heart out, and literally the walls can be coming out, but you feel no pain. It's just a load.
And that's exactly what I dealt with. So that's the thing. So
any advice in our marital relationship as to how you and your wife did it? Because it's hard. I would imagine you're Jewish. You studied Judaism. You were born with it. I would presume from what I heard in your lectures. But your wife converted. So in our end, we are both converting. So it's I guess it's a little bit harder and challenging.
Sure. I mean, it's put it this way. As far as the if it wasn't for my wife, I probably wouldn't have survived. Not probably. I know for sure I wouldn't have survived, because the most difficult part of my journey was the being sick. Being in pain 24 hours a day makes you lose your mind pretty much. You don't really want to live. When you're in pain all the time, it is nothing that anyone can do to help you. So that was the most difficult part, because the physical pain eventually becomes mental pain. Now, originally, as far as the money is concerned, losing the first several $1 million was a punch to the face as far as ego. Losing the next few shook me up completely, because then I realized, okay, I'm pretty much almost back to where I started. But the last part that we lost once we moved, once we started giving shiurim, once we were pretty much 100% on board. Wife converted, we're ultra religious, I'm giving lectures, I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do. So now I have a little bit left. That, we're okay. We're not rich at all, but we have a few bucks left. So that going to zero technically was supposed to be the biggest disaster. Technically was supposed to be the complete heartbreak. Technically was supposed to be the one that just makes you just lose your mind. But no one knows this other than my wife, and now you'll find out, is that same day that I lost everything. It mostly happened in one day. Bad trade, bad things happening in the stock market and so on. Most of it happened pretty much overnight. That same day it happened, I gave a shiur Torah. On a shiur Torah, nothing changed. I'm happy, I'm giving shiur Torah, I'm doing whatever I'm doing. I just lost everything I had that same day. I gave a shiur Torah. Now this doesn't necessarily make me some type of angel. This only gives credit to the Torah. Why the Torah? Because the deeper you get into the Torah, as he said, the more you realize that Hashem has control of everything. Even though around you you're seeing the walls collapse. But He's doing it. So when He's doing it, He knows what He's doing. I'm doing His will. He gave me a book. He told me to read it. So I open it and I read it. After I read it, He told me to tell people about it. Okay, so I tell people about it. I'm doing what He said. I'm not doing anything against it. I'm not making my own laws. He said if I do His will, He does my will. If I turn His will into my will, He'll turn my will into His will. That's what He said. I'll take His word for it. Just like He said, He created the world in 6 days and rested on the seventh. I think it's 6 days with our time. I don't think it's 6 million years. Why? Because that's if he would have said 6 million years, then I would have said, okay, it's 6 million years. But he said 6 days. I'll take his word for it. So I don't know whether I had huge level of emunah or I was too naive. I'm not really sure. All I know is that I take God's word for it. And so despite seeing a lot of the disasters, at that point, Hashem knew that I could handle the test. And that's why I had that test. Hashem will never give you a test you can't handle, which means that everything that you're dealing with right now, that's what you can handle. One day, the tests will get bigger. Life goes on, you get, not because you want more difficulty, but that's the purpose of life. The purpose of life is to grow. The way we grow is by overcoming obstacles. The only way we become stronger is by overcoming bigger and bigger obstacles. You go to the gym, you can't just do 5 pounds every day. You want to grow, you want to become muscular, you have to do 5 pounds, then 10, then 20, then 30, then 50. You have to grow. Why would you do more? Because that's what gets you to be bigger, and that's what gets you to be stronger. Same concept with your connection to Hashem. Each time He gives you an obstacle, He's preparing you for the next one. And each one is supposed to get you closer and closer to the ultimate goal, to the ultimate connection with Him. Because if you're just dealing with it as purely, oh, this is just another nightmare, this is just another problem, then you're not going to grow through the experience. You're just dealing with a nightmare. It's just a problem. And problems we all have. But if you see it as an opportunity to connect to Him, an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to, in essence, go to training, like you went to boot camp. This is something, I don't know why Hashem is doing it, but this is something that is going to benefit me somehow. If you start looking at things that way, it becomes easier to deal with the problems. The problems never go away, and probably will never go away until the Mashiach comes. Until then, there's going to be problems. I don't want anyone to misunderstand and think the problem stopped. I have more problems today than I did before. I just don't care.
I'm laughing not at you because she says I'm like that. She gets mad because she says that I seem just to sit there and just pray and it's like not care. It's like I don't.
No, it's not that I don't care. I have problems. I have to deal with them. But I know it's like I'm doing what He wants. It's His problem. He's going to deal with it. I do what He wants. He's going to do what I want. Okay, what? There's no money to pay rent? Okay, so Hashem, send it. I'm doing what you want. I believe that you're going to... You said in Tehillim, King David wrote Tehillim, he said, I've been young and I've been old and I've never seen a righteous man, beg for food. I've never seen a righteous man that's not able, that goes... Okay, so... I'm trying to be, I'm not righteous, but I'm trying to be. I'm trying to teach people. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to get people to do tshuva. I'm trying to do whatever I can. You said I'm not going to starve. Okay, Hashem, I'm not going to work. If I go to work, I'm not going to be able to learn as much as I learn now. I'm not going to be able to do the lectures. So, if you want me to spend 100% of my day helping people, you have to send me money. And Baruch Hashem, He sends money. So, again, to someone that's completely far away from Hashem, I sound like a mental case. I sound like there's something wrong with me. And I could tell you that if I would have seen myself today, if I would have seen 5 years ago, 6 years ago, what I am today, I would have laughed at myself. Like, that's not possible. What, are you crazy? You have to go to work. Go make money. What are you talking about? Go make your millions, then do whatever you want. That was my mindset back then. So... Again, everyone has their own mission. I'm not telling anyone that everyone needs to leave their jobs and just learn. Everyone has their own mission. It all depends on what you do with your time. But know for sure that the obstacles are for your benefit. There is a benefit in it, 100%. You just can't see it yet. And He has everything under control. If you know those two things, that there's a benefit, and everything is under his control, it's easier to deal with it. It's easier to not have stress. When you think that it's in your control, you're always going to be stressed out. Because if it's in your control, but at the same time out of your hands, then it's just chaos. If you think that you're responsible for making money, not Hashem sending it to you. Obviously you go to work, but the point is that it only depends on your effort, not Hashem. If you think it's only from you, and it's not coming from you, then it's very easy to become depressed. It's very easy to become stressed out. It's very easy. Now again, this also depends on what you do with the rest of your time other than work. If you're spending your time learning Torah, if you're spending your time getting closer to Hashem, doing His will, then you're giving Him a reason to help you.
So would learning Torah consist of just reading the Mishnah, or would it also be considered like watching your videos?
Sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah, they all of that is considered Torah. Everything relating to Torah, whether it's videos or discs or books, everything is connected. Everything is Torah.
Well, it's such a huge merit to have you.
Huh?
I said it's such a huge merit to have you as our rabbi.
Baruch Hashem, it's my merit. It's my privilege to be with you guys. It's one day I'm gonna do a lecture on my wife's story. If you think my story is cool, her story is even better.
My mom and the ladies are asking, where's your wife from?
She's originally Italian, but she was born in America. She's American. Her ancestors were Italian. She actually speaks Spanish fluently. Yeah, she speaks. Yeah, because she was born and raised in Miami. She was born and raised in Miami, and Miami had a lot of Cubans. So most of our friends and different family members were Cubans.
Do you speak Spanish?
About 6 words. I know disculpa. I know siete. Everything to me is siete. Even though I know it means 7, I just say it's siete. Not much. I want, actually, for a while we were thinking about moving to Panama. We were thinking about moving to Panama. We went to, when I was in the business world. I think this is back in 2008, 2009. We went to Panama a bunch of times. We liked it over there. We're going to do some business over there. It never ended up working out, but I was thinking about taking up Spanish as a, start learning it, but it never worked out, so I haven't learned it. But now that I know you fine folks, maybe I'll start learning some Spanish. Any other questions?
Just one more question. Regarding books, books that help us, books related, like my sister gave me as a gift, the Garden of Yuna.
Yes.
I just want to know, what's a good way for us to know what books are like Orthodox Jewish, like for us not to be like if they recommend a certain book or something, for us to know that it is going to be based on the Torah law. And
books on the translation by Shalom Arush and Laser Brody.
Yes, Rabbi Arush and Laser Brody are phenomenal rabbis. Yes, they're good. Usually it's mostly, you can determine it mostly by the publisher. There's a few major publishers that are very strict in regards to who they publish. And that's ArtScroll. There's Muznaim, there's Feldheim, and there's a couple of others that I can't remember off the top of my head. Usually it's the publisher that is generally very strict in regards to keeping it Orthodox. Also, who's the work by? Generally, Orthodox rabbis have the look of an Orthodox rabbi. Some Orthodox rabbis, like for example, Rabbi Yosef Mizrahi, doesn't have a beard. But he's as Orthodox as it gets. He's the highest level of Orthodox. But generally, most Orthodox rabbis will have the look, whereas the Reformed will also have a look of Reformed. What's the look? Sometimes it's the kippah. Like usually you'll see the less religious people have a much smaller kippah, and it's usually very, very colorful. The point I'm trying to make is that get familiar with certain publishers, like the ones that I mentioned to you. And the second thing is, you know, you could always run it by me or a local rabbi to see if this specific book is about the, you know, kosher. But anything by Rabbi Shalom Arush is great. Anything from Art Scroll is very good. From Muznaim is good. There's a few, really, there's plenty of amazing things. But right now, the main stuff that you guys should be focusing on, aside from Emunah, which is always good, is the things you need for the conversion. So you need to learn about Shabbat. There's a couple of books that I'll send you the pictures of them so you could get them. There's one really good book that's technically a children's book, but it's actually good for adults to learn from about the 39 restrictions of Shabbat.
Yeah, we cited one of your lectures, and we bought it.
Oh, you got it? Good. Yeah, it's a really good book. And there's the artist that makes that book and a few other books, he's a Baal Tshuva. He's a Baal Tshuva, and he's become very, very successful, and all of his art is connected to really, really amazing books with beautiful art, and I gave him Gadi Palak, I think his name is. He makes really great work. So there's a few books like that. There's the Chumash you already have. There's a book about modesty and family purity, especially family purity. There's one I'll get you the name that my wife has. That's pretty much I mean, family purity has many books, but there's one that's basic, like a tutorial. You need to go through a relatively short book. You could pretty much read it in a day. That every woman needs to have, and then obviously get more over time.
Will you send us a list of all that material, like for the circumcision, and I mean, like all the information on that? Will you be?
Bezrat Hashem, I'll try to get the list of things that I have here, and try to get some explanations of different things, and try to arrange something for you guys. This week I'll try to do it, Bezrat Hashem.
And we want to thank you for the books you send and the CD
Okay.
and all
Oh, Hashem.
and the blessings and the blessing for our home that you gave us.
Listen, it's been an extraordinary, amazing journey for us, and to do tshuva, get closer to Hashem, and to see that He brought us to meet amazing people like you that love Hashem makes it even more meaningful. So I'm telling you, all day, what I look for is for people that want to get to know Hashem. So when you find somebody that's already in love with Hashem, but just trying to figure out how to do all of it, I mean, I'm not really sure if you're benefiting as much as I'm benefiting. So I'm telling you, the world has come to a point where people are starting to wake up a little bit. Even if they're not waking up completely, everyone knows there's something wrong. Everyone knows there's just something weird. So something is off. It's not the same. Whether they don't like the way things have evolved with the government, or with religion, or with the politics, or whatever it is, it's just something wrong. Everyone knows that something is happening. And the overwhelming amount of people that are interested in Torah and converting to Judaism and becoming Baalei Tshuva, that are actually becoming more religious, is literally a prophecy that's being fulfilled in front of our eyes. This has never happened before. So, to be part of that, it's exciting as it gets. Wall Street can't do anything for that. It's all the stuff that I ever did in Wall Street is not even worth 1 minute of today. You know, so it's just finding serious people, because sometimes you'll end up, I meet people that are not really serious. They just want quick solutions, a quick fix. They don't want to really change, but they want a quick solution. They want one prayer that's going to fix all their problem, like it's a magic trick. And so that, is usually a waste of time. But overall, it's listen, there's a lot to do and it's not enough time, but when you find someone that's really serious, you try to do everything you can.
I just have one last question and I'll be in, I promise.
No, go ahead.
We named our son Kal-El.
Repeat that again?
Kal-El. We named him Kal-El.
Okay.
K-A-L and then E-L, like Superman.
Okay.
But my husband didn't tell me that it was Superman. He went, because I wanted a meaningful name. The thing I said that I wanted a Hebrew name, that I wanted a meaningful name. And he's like, well, do you like Khaled? And I like the sound of it. And then after he was born, he's like, I heard one of the male nurses, he's like, oh my God, you named your son after Superman. And I was like, when I turned to my husband, and my husband was like, oh yeah, well, that part too. But
never trust a man.
Yeah, according to what he found out, it meant the voice of strong God, or strong voice of God, or something. Is that
Kol El, yeah, Kol El, it's Kol. It's really Kol means that's the voice, and El means God.
Oh, voice of God.
Voice God. So voice of God. But you'll have an opportunity to give him another name, a Hebrew name, at his conversion. Many people end up using just their Hebrew name. Some people still use their English name that they got used to. But a lot of people, there's one woman that we helped convert recently. She only goes by her Hebrew name now, Rachel. Another woman that I know she uses both names. Another woman I know uses just the regular name, but she knows her, she has a, regular Hebrew name, but she only uses, like, for people, she just tells them her regular name. So it's really a choice. It's really a choice, but each one of you will have the opportunity to come up with a Hebrew name, and don't give the job to your husband. It's my pleasure and true honor to be a part of this journey with you guys. If all questions, all things, just send them over to me, and maybe we can make a list of different things that you got out of this, and any questions you have about it, and I'll try to address it all at once. But B'ezrat Hashem, I'll try to get some time this week to get you this list with some pictures of some books, names of books, and different things that we may or may not have gone over. And B'ezrat Hashem will also publish this to get some other people's questions answered, and get to know this wonderful family from Texas that's about to all convert.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Chazakim u'bruchim. Baruch Adonai L'olam, amen v'amen. Kol tov. Bye bye.